Good evening. Would like to welcome you all here for tonight's webinar. My name is Ted Laverty. I'm the CEO of Onlinetradesmen. You're most welcome to tonight's webinar on how to access low-cost loans for upgrading your home. That's all part of the Onlinetradesmen Home Improvement webinar series. Tonight, we're going to go through the details of the government's Home Energy Upgrade Loan Scheme with the man at the top, Minister Neil Richmond, Minister for State with responsibility for financial services, credit unions and insurance. We'll hear from the Minister on how the loan works in practice, who and what is eligible for it and how to apply for it. Then we'll go through just the practicalities on how to find a contractor to undertake the works for you. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So you can ask some questions that are important to you about the loan scheme, how to access it, what's available for you. And the Minister and myself will do our best to answer your questions. So let's get into it. I am delighted to welcome the Minister for State, Mr. Neil Richmond.
Thanks so much, Ted, and thank you all so much for your patience. I've been using Teams for the last 2 years, and when I tried to log on to this new platform, all my systems and devices died basically and ran away. But this is great, and the real reason I came on here, I'm very grateful to Ted and the team for Onlinetradesmen for inviting me along. The reason I want to talk about this new scheme is it is very new and it's very different. And we in the government hope and expect and think this is going to provide a huge opportunity for a lot of people who perhaps to this point simply haven't been able to afford or get the financing to do that deep retrofit. And this is where it's aimed at. So this scheme was launched just before the summer break back in May, and it was launched by the Department of Finance, where I'm a minister, in coordination with the Department of Environment and Climate Change, as well as with the European Investment Bank. And that's really important because the European Bank has underwritten this, and it means that there's a fund of €500 million. It's the first time a loan like this has been set up in the EU, and the loan is deliberately, the funding is there to work with a number of partners in order people to be able to get the financing to do that deep retrofit, to make that real wholesale change to their home, to bring up its BR rating and everything else. And I suppose why I wanted to speak on this platform in particular is trying to get the message out there. It's when you next go to price a job, or the next time someone calls up with an inquiry, you can direct them to this new scheme if there's someone who perhaps doesn't have the money to hand or haven't been able to get the finance heretofore through all the different SEAI schemes or anything else with their financial providers. And the detail is, it's pretty clear and it's pretty accessible for anyone. And hopefully the successes of other schemes that many of you have been able to work with in order to deliver for your customers will be met in this scheme as well. I suppose just to get to the brass tacks, a homeowner and very, very small non-corporate landlords are able to borrow under this scheme between €5,000 and €75,000, and that's a 10-year loan scheme. The loans are unsecured. There's no charge taken over the property, as is the case perhaps with a mortgage, and the purpose of the loan must be to carry out home energy upgrade works. The residential property being upgraded must of course be located in the Republic, and the home energy upgrade works must qualify for a home energy grant from Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland and must be projected to result in a minimum 20% improvement in the energy performance of the property. Up to 25%, and I think this is key, of the amount borrowed may be spent on non-energy efficiency works. For example, other home improvement works carried out at the same time as energy upgrade works, and you'll be able to draw down these loans. And as I said, it launched before the summer months, and it's open until the 31st of December 2026, or until the scheme has been fully subscribed, whichever comes first. So if we get lots and lots of interest in this early doors and the scheme is oversubscribed, then perhaps we'll look at doing a different scheme that will require further partnership. But if there isn't as much of a take-up, we reckon that we'll be able to get the vast majority of the funds out by the 31st of December of 2026. 2026. And it's backed by a counter guarantee, as I mentioned, by the European Investment Fund, supported by the European Investment Bank. So who's giving out this loan? And that's the key thing. So there's a number of financial providers who've come in and made themselves available and provided really good terms. The first financial institution that's joined this is Permanent TSB, and Permanent TSB are offering loans with a rate of 3.55%, which is really competitive, and it's really something we hope will turn heads. All loans are expected to be in that region of 3.5% to 4.5%, maybe even a little bit lower in some cases, as we see more providers coming up on market. As I said, Permanent TSB led off in this, and they've had really good interest in it. But there are other financial institutions and slightly different ones who are coming on stream. AIB and Bank of Ireland are coming on stream. Bank of Ireland are already in market, and AIB are in market. Avant Money are also in market. And a new development in this particular area, and something that I'm quite enthusiastic about because I'm a minister for this area as well, is that 7 credit unions have also come on stream, and they include Clonmel, Connect, First South, Listowel, now Brendon, North Midlands, and Progressive. As I said, Permanent TSB were the first financial institution to offer the home loans under the scheme. They've had a good take-up, and they expect to be able to get towards their capacity in due course. It has all the usual sort of terms and conditions that, the contractor doing the work obviously needs to be part of the SAAI, and there's huge opportunities for people to use this for the really big, deep retrofit that'll make a difference to their home energy. And equally, if the works that they get done are able to move them into a suitable BER energy efficiency rating, they will be able to move their mortgage to a green mortgage with the existing financial providers. And as I said, the interest rates are significantly lower than the rates that are available for other unsecured personal loans. And where the government has played a role here in cooperation with European partners is to make sure that we can get a much lower rate by securing the loan through the fund. I suppose that's the key outlets, and that's the big sell of this loan. It's really accessible. You just go into any of the participating providers. Any of you who have worked already in terms of the various schemes available under the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland will know how much of a difference they'll make and how they will turn heads. But the nature of this loan, the lower interest rate, the fairly hefty amount, and the fact that it's being done not just through the 3 pillar banks, which is brilliant, as well as Avant Money and credit unions, is that we're really trying to reach the people who perhaps haven't even considered something like a deep retrofit, who haven't considered the big job, be it putting in a wood chip boiler, putting in new windows, or all the usual schemes carried out under the SAAI. And as I said at the outset, when I was delighted Ted asked me would there be something that I'd perhaps come on to speak about, this is the first thing I thought of, because it's all about getting money out there into people's pockets that they can put towards work that ultimately is going to make a huge difference. It'll make a huge difference to the environment, of course, to their bills at the end of the month, and continue the success in making sure that local tradespeople can get the best out of the available capital and the real massive desire. And look, I think you all know it, the numbers in the country getting retrofits have gone through the roof in the last number of years. It's really promising, it's really important, but there is that last sort of cohort, for want of a better word, that perhaps has been a little bit left behind, and we very much hope this new scheme will be able to bring people into that, and indeed create even more work for a bunch of people who I know are already really, really busy, and we're really grateful for that. And there's an abundance of other issues that I'm sure we could speak about, but this is the one that I wanted to kick off tonight by really focusing in and making sure that the next time you go to price a job, or the next time you're having a conversation with a potential client, that you'll be able to say, well, do you know about this new funding scheme? This is the scheme that will make this bit of work accessible for you, and hopefully will make a huge difference to so many different people. So that's the whistle stop tour. I have a really detailed briefing note that I said that I'm going to email to Ted, and he's going to provide to everyone who has signed up for this seminar. It's got all the frequently asked questions. There's lots online, but this is everything in one fairly hefty 50-page document. You can pour through about 3 or 4 pages quickly and pull out what you might need in conversations with customers, or indeed if you want to engage with those financial institutions or local credit unions, particularly if you're working those areas, and say, well, make sure that if someone comes in and want to talk about getting finance, that you let them know about local tradespeople who are available in their area, prepared to do this work, able to do this work, and very keen to engage and building on a great track record. So that's the initial long and short of it, Ted. More than happy to go in whatever direction you choose fit at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, we're going to do a Q&A at the end of it. Interestingly, Neil, just doing the maths on it and having looked at some of the other, home improvement offerings that are out there, just to put it in perspective for potential homeowners who are going to take it up. The prevailing rate for a home improvement loan out there without this is around 7%. So over 10 years, if you were borrowing 70 grand, you're going to be paying 97 grand back. So you're paying an interest over 10 years of 27,500 on a principal of 70,000, right? So that's a hefty amount of interest to be paying. Under this scheme, what you're paying back isn't 97,000, it's 83,000. So the interest on that accumulated is 13,000. So you're saving yourself around 14,000 over the course of 10 years. So better in your pocket than in somebody else's. So that puts it in a bit of perspective. I guess, Neil, thank you very much for that. And look, we'll ask you just to join in for the Q&A at the end of it, because like with anything in these things, it's great to have a scheme, but then the practicalities of how you actually get somebody to do it for you, particularly in a very busy marketplace. So tradespeople are busy across the nation. At the moment, there is not enough tradespeople. That's well documented. We aim to try and help that, but not only by giving you easy access to tradespeople, but also by being standards-based. So being able to give you access to the qualified tradespeople. So let's just have a really quick look now that you know that the loan is there and that maybe you can now afford to do the work in your home. How do you go about finding the tradesperson or the contractors to do it? So just here are the highlights that Neil, we'll come back to this at the end. Here are the highlights that Neil outlined. We'll come back to this with a Q&A. I think it'd be a useful one to have in front of us. But like I said, how do we find the right tradesperson for the job? So let's just have a look at that now.
So in this part, we'll actually talk about how easy it is to find a qualified and SEAI registered tradesperson or company to carry out your work. Crucially, as has been said before, in order to get access to the green energy upgrade loans and indeed any government funding, the contractors need to be registered either as a contractor or as a one-stop shop on the SEAI website. We take that all into account, and we'll show you just how easy it is to validate all that through our platform. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to submit your job for all the qualified tradespeople that are in your area. To do that, it's very simple. On the home page, you're just going to hit post a job. And from that, you're going to choose from over 400 different project category types. So we're going to go for a home retrofit, and we're going to go for a deep retrofit service. Put in as much detail as you can just to help the tradesperson to reply to your job and give you something meaningful back, which may be just to arrange a site visit. And be realistic in terms of the time frame that you want to get the job started, because all the tradespeople are very busy at the moment. And then you're going to just complete your contact details and set up an account on our platform. When you submit the job, it goes out to all the qualified tradespeople. The ones that are interested and available will actually reply back to you via the platform. When you get a reply, you'll see either an email or an SMS message, and you can go in and have a look. In this case, there's one reply there. We're going to go in and have a look at it. Down to my job, and there's the company that's replying, VT Carpentry. First thing I'm going to do is check their profile. I'm going to have a look and see what their qualifications are. But briefly, I'm going to start by looking at their ratings. What have other homeowners said about them? And do I feel confident that they're going to be a good fit for my particular project? Then I'm going to see their qualifications that are listed. You'll see the SEAI registration status, both for contractor and one-stop shop, and you can click on these links to validate that on the SEAI website itself. So now I'm happy with that one. I'm going to initiate a chat we have a WhatsApp type chat platform where you can message the tradesperson, you can share documents, quotes, all that kind of stuff in there and keep it all in one place. And then ultimately, if you're happy, you will actually hire them. So the next step for you is to submit your job and start getting quotes back and replies back from qualified tradespeople.
Hopefully that shows you just how easy it is to do on the platform, how to access the tradespeople that you need. So I guess at this point, it's probably, we'll open it up. Let's get some questions in for the minister, I guess, probably, just to see, you know, what's out there, who's asking what, where the confusion might still lie. And we'll see if we can answer that between us, Neil, if that's okay with you. So there's a question here from Joe. My house was part built in 2012, but it wasn't completed or ready for moving into until 2017. So is there any stipulation in terms of the time frame for the house being built, and whether it was dormant from any period of time? Would that disqualify me from being able to apply for the loan?
No, it shouldn't. Once it's a home energy work, once it's something, that is one of the agreed types of jobs that the SEAI is involved in, and once you can prove that it's going to reduce or increase the energy efficiency, no, that should be okay, and you should be all clear.
Okay, well, thanks, Neil. So a question here from Mary. In relation to the loans, how do they fit in with the existing grants? Can I do both?
Yeah, absolutely, you can do both, and you're encouraged to do both, Mary.
Yeah, and I think isn't the stipulation, I think, Neil, that as part of it, you have to apply for a particular grant as well and get approved for that, don't you?
Yeah, you have to be approved by an existing SEAI grant or grant scheme and make it part of that as well. It's as I said, it's encouraged. That's the aim. It's to make sure it's complementary to what's out there already, and to provide you the finance to do the bigger job, the deeper retrofit, if that makes sense, Ted.
Okay, very good. One thing we would have seen, Neil, from these things in the past is the amount of time it would take people to get through the paperwork. Has that been streamlined now? Is there how slick is the process, I guess?
Yeah, like the process is it's relatively slick because it's with the financial institutions itself. Now, each financial institution has a different approach to this, as you can understand. Some are better than others, and that's perhaps why both PTSB and Bank of Ireland got on quite quickly. But I would argue that the paperwork is definitely a lot easier than schemes that have gone before. And look, let's be quite frank, Ted, it's in our interest to get this money drawn down and out as quick as possible. And that's been the mandate given to the financial institutions that are taking part, that there has to be an efficiency. So, look, I've looked through the various application process. I was in with PTSB in Stillorgan 2.5 weeks ago, and they said, no, there hasn't been any pushback that this is an onerous task. It's not going to cost huge amounts of energy or money just to get your head around the forms. It's a straightforward application process, or as straightforward as a loan for up to €75,000 can be.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Question from Jane: does it apply in a second home, or is it only in a private residence or primary residence?
Yeah. No. It actually is only on the primary residence. No, actually, sorry. So I want to be clear on this one. So beg your pardon. Yeah, a second home is eligible because, as I said, if you're a small landlord who has a home, you're eligible. And equally, if the property is, if you own multiple properties, that isn't it isn't an issue under this one. And as I said, it can be used for a vacant property as well. So that's all. It's all viable.
Okay, very good. Great stuff. Is the what's the uptake been on it, Neil, so far? Has it been embraced? Is there high volumes going through it?
Yeah, well, as I said, it's only available through 2 financial institutions at the moment, and certainly PTSB are ahead of where they thought they'd be. and that's why I think we're going to see the other financial institutions coming in very quick. Now's the time of year when people start to get costings in it. So definitely the credit unions in particular are very keen to get out, but they're doing it on an individual basis. You can't just go into every single credit union because every credit union has 250 independent entities in the state. But certainly PTSB have been extremely happy with the uptake so far, and haven't even had to push it that hard with their customers or potential customers. So that's quite a plus. You don't always get that.
Great. Okay. And just one question here from Frankie. Looking to get solar panels in the house. Is this loan applicable for solar?
Yes, there's a bit of a detailed one on this one. It depends on what grant route you choose. So the solar photovoltaic panels are considered an eligible cost for the home energy loan scheme where they're installed as part of a comprehensive upgrade under the national scheme. And as I said, so it has to be part of a bigger scheme, so not just panels, but as solar as an individual measure is not an eligible consideration, so it has to be part of a wider upgrade.
Okay, so it's obviously more on the retrofit than on the the piecemeal. Yeah.
That's
okay.
We're trying to look at those houses, as I said, who are looking at their heater or looking at their insulation. That sort of traditional one. It's stopping the energy seeping out is a big focus of this.
Okay, very good. You just see, probably get the last couple of questions. I'm conscious of time. I'm conscious of everybody's time, your time, Minister, as well. Let's just see if we have another couple of questions here. There's some of them. Okay. Yeah. So that is from Catherine. Can a professional? Can you get a professional to visit your home to see what energy improvements your home may need, and then apply based on their recommendations? Guess the answer to that is yes. They're going to come and do an energy assessment, and that's the first part of it, isn't it? Yeah.
That's okay. The most important part. Look, use flexible. See what you need. Get a professional to see what you can do, and make sure that their job is to say, well, perhaps you might consider this, and this is eligible as part of the scheme, or we can get finance to it. That's get a professional out first. Someone who's involved in, as I said, who is registered with the SAI, all that. Get them to look about what is feasible, and then you can put the money towards it.
Perfect. So what I would say, there are some other questions there. We will try to answer them because we have your details. We'll try to answer them to the platform. I think, Minister, you also said that if there were other questions coming in, you'd be happy to respond to them and give as much information as you possibly can on it. So look, I mean, I think the other side of all of this is that we will make the recording available to everybody who registered. But what I'd like to do is just to say thank you to everybody for attending. Thank you, Minister, for your time here this evening. And look, we look forward to getting the questions and to helping people to access contractors to do this work. So for me, thank you very much, and good evening to everybody.